Well, hi there, and welcome to the ATS podcast with me, Will Brown, and John Soulsby, where we break down chunks of health and fitness information into bite-sized pieces, remove a bunch of the noise, and just leave what's relevant. Today, on episode 52, we are talking about uh, breathing techniques for athletic performance.
hmm
Again, we generate a bunch of our topic prompts with ChatGPT, as probably everyone does, and I quite like it because it gives us like probably controversial topics. Like we would probably never talk about stuff that
Or,
seems silly because we would just be like, well, no.
or I suppose it gives us stuff that is not our day-to-day run-of-the-mill things that we get up to, but we also
Oh yeah, nobody asks
have like
us.
thought about. Yeah,
Yeah, nobody asks
no,
us
no one
how we
asks
breathe.
about it, but every now and again it will come up as a hot take of breathing through your nose for athletic performance, and you have to tell them they're fucking stupid.
Yeah, what else is dumb about breathing? Oh, those fucking altitude masks, they never seem to die off. I fucking love those.
Yeah.
As if you can
Um,
literally imagine the
Although,
fucking
what was it recently that came up, and we're like, "There's finally a use for it." Oh, I can't remember now. That's going to trigger me so hard.
the I was like, imagine the audacity to think that you can somehow harness the environmental physiology adaptations of the people who live in like Nepal just by
Yeah,
wearing some piece of shit plastic mask, essentially just
yeah.
like a B&Q respirator.
Yeah, like if you had a rebreather on or something like that, fair play. But like, do it like as in if you had like a tank with however much less oxygen it is
Yeah.
further
So
up, then that might work. But like,
so a quick summary for people. The meme is that the respirate like classic quote unquote altitude masks typically work by restricting your ability to inhale oxygen. Like if you've ever a great example, just make a kind of semi-closed fist in front of your mouth right now and then try breathe in through it. Like it is harder to breathe in and you have to suck harder. Like that is not why altitude causes oxygen sickness. Like altitude causes oxygen sickness because in a cubic, I don't know, centimeter, meter, whatever you're measured preferred, who cares? In your perfectly average cubic 6 inches, uh,
yeah, decimeters cubed.
yeah, the the amount of little oxygen molecules flying around is less. Like, so it's not that the air is harder to suck. It's not like thicker. It's not like you're trying to suck custard. You're there is just less oxygen for your suck.
Yeah,
This is definitely getting an
yeah,
18 rated episode. Not I've not even swore yet, but like it's definitely getting there. The but yeah, the the rate of oxygen per suck is less. Therefore,
yeah,
you do not get as much transferring through your bod, like through your lungs and into like through your blood and into your lungs, and therefore, your body does not like that. Unsurprisingly,
no,
because it's not any more difficult to breathe, so you just start to feel really lightheaded and then ill, and then sometimes you die.
yeah,
Like people die all the time trying to climb Everest. Rich white people that think they can do like a year's training and be fine. No. You did fucking Killy. How was that?
it was all right until the last 1,000 meters of climbing. That was pretty grim.
Yeah. Did you not?
It's mad though. Sorry, what were you gonna ask?
I was just like, did you not make sure and do like some workouts with an altitude mask on before you went? Fucking
That's the key thing that I forgot. No,
noob,
I just
noob
like chilled out
mistake.
and drank beer. Um, but like, what was really interesting is like the like some people got hit really hard within the first like after like 2,500 meters of ascent,
Hmm.
and then like me, like I think Killy's like 5,800 or 5,900 meters, and yeah, it was really after like 5,000 plus that I started feeling it, and then only the last 500 I was like dying, whereas
Yeah.
some people it was like 2,000 meters before that.
How would you sum up the feeling of, I guess, oxygen privation, like oxygen starvation, but without like cardiovascular exertion?
Um,
Like how, like,
I
because
feel
I
like
imagine it feels different to working out. Is my point.
yeah, I mean I suppose it's the other one like any asthma sufferers out there, and Team Asthma's checking in.
Yeah.
But it's like not when you're having an asthma attack, but when like you're like getting a bit wheezy, but it feels like you can't get enough oxygen in, even though you're fine. Like you're not currently working out. You're not. Your heart rate's not like 190. You're just like I can't get enough oxygen in, except for two
Why?
days.
Yes. But why? This
um,
is where I'm always like, I don't know, because I'm like, I'm really used to that. Like the kind of
yeah,
the 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 ability to chill whilst that feeling is going on, because I know like, oh, like asthma's kicking up
yeah. But it
versus
just means yeah, you end up with like less energy, which is then even worse when you're trying to climb a fucking mountain.
yep.
Um, but yeah, it's
And
like
there's
less
less of
energy,
it,
and you
yeah.
can never like catch your breath back.
Mm.
Um, which yeah, as you say, it's fine if you're just like chilling, as it were, or not having to do much. But if you're having to then perform in any capacity whilst doing that, that's
To
tough.
to also finish off the point, like because the mask just makes you better at sucking hilariously. Uh, it doesn't actually improve your ability to convert oxygen at all.
No.
It may improve your intake volume capacity, like your rate of oxygen intake by volume. Like you can
Yeah.
suck better,
But
essentially.
your lungs still get just as full.
But yeah, your lungs still get just as full. And also they only convert at the same rate because you
Yeah.
are a normal human living at close to sea level. Uh,
Um,
if you're considering like, I don't know, going and working out on top of a really high hill and then coming back down, that's also a dumb thing because that's the wrong way round. You need to go
I
live
was about
up
to
the
say
hill and then come down to work out.
because if you work out up the hill, you'll just not be able to perform.
Yeah, like if those Sherpas
Whereas,
ever got bored of like hauling dead white people up Everest, like, and decided to come down and do like aerobic capacity stuff at sea level, oh my god, they would be
or
so
do like
hench.
those crazy ultras that are like a day long,
Yeah,
but
they
at like sea level, they'd be like,
yeah.
doo, doo, doo.
I don't think it's very surprising that the Gurkha regiment has like a very high reputation for just like
Being
ridiculous
animals.
tabs. Yeah, just being
Yeah,
ridiculously in shape, because the fuckers
yeah.
like live way up in the mountains and then come
Well,
down
it's
to normie sea level, and they're like,
yeah.
fuck these guys' problems. Like this feels great.
Well, it was like on 14 peaks. Is it 14 peaks? 12 peaks?
Yeah,
14.
that show.
Yeah. But the dude like who like is does that is he was special forces, and I think he started in the Gurkha regiment, but like he was chatting about when he was a kid, like he had to do like I don't know what the distance was, but let's say 5 miles to and from a village like every day up in the Nepalese mountains.
Yeah.
So funnily enough, when he comes to like military training and they're like, yeah, you've got to run for 10 miles. And he's like, but at sea level. Yeah, right. Let's go.
Absolute rig. Yeah. Like
um,
that's the kind of stuff you want. Like if you have it's even better if you have, are several generations deep in your lineage
yeah.
of people who live in the mountains. Much like you get, what was I watching? I saw some thing about these folks that live off a coast somewhere. They live on like these kind of flotilla villages, and they make all their money from like clam diving and stuff. Um, but because everyone, like generations of men in the village's profession, has been hold your breath really long and dive really deep in the ocean, unsurprisingly, there are genetic predispositions to like very efficient oxygen use kicking about in the men of that village. Because we talked about it on the genetics episode where it's like choose better parents. Like
Yeah.
uh, not too silly to see when people like professional athletes in almost any field more often, or not more often than not, but quite often have parents who were also professional athletes. Maybe not in the same
Yeah.
sport, but in some
Who's
sport.
who's the dude in the NFL who's like, mom was a professional soccer player, dad professional baseball, grandfather professional football, and you like grandmother something else professional sport. You're like, Jesus wept.
Yeah, it's not really surprising when you're like,
Yeah.
okay, goddamn, okay. Like it's not the only way, but like it's a big part.
But yeah, another interesting fact that is slightly counterintuitive, but just going back to talking about altitude sickness, is you're actually less likely to get altitude sickness if you're a smoker.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
How the fuck does that work?
I don't know the actual physiology of that, but it, essentially your lungs are used to being shit.
Oh, really? Fuck.
I think, yeah.
Maybe Team Asthma would have a way better time.
Maybe I mean maybe I don't know. That would be worth a wee. But yeah, this is it's like the again National Library of Medicine banter, but it was in the BMJ, which is the British Medical Journal. But it's relationship of altitude motion sickness and smoking. Um, so a bunch of people smoked, a bunch of people didn't.
Oh, brilliant.
74 smokers and 70 non-smokers.
I love this question.
Oh
Can
no, sorry, 74 smokers, 158 non-smokers, and 78 ex-smokers. And essentially, smokers are less likely to get altitude sickness.
Oh, boo. Can asthmatics go to high altitudes? I was gonna be like, well, yeah, in planes. Yeah, I can't find anything on a very tertiary search.
I mean, the issue with asthma is maybe that's a fairly unethical.
Let's just shove a bunch of asthmatics at high altitude and watch them all nearly die.
Yeah, because it's like it's yeah. You have
Yeah.
an asthma attack at high altitude, you might just die.
Speaking of breathwork techniques, the one that does actually spring to mind now that we were talking about it for a bit was the classic like hands on knees breathing.
Oh yeah.
Very much proves the most efficient recovery because you are like your
I laugh.
parallelness to the ground is taking
Yeah.
like you're essentially using gravity to assist with chest expansion,
Yeah.
which can
Big shout out to Martin Punter, ex offensive lineman of the Edinburgh Wolves, for sending me that study.
yeah, unsurprisingly, anyone who's played a team sport in maybe about the 90s or below, or like later, when your coach was like, "No, stand up, like you got to stand up and breathe like upright," not as effective as having your hands
Yeah.
on your knees. And
I
any
I think that comes from like you don't want to look weak, as it were. Of do you know what I mean? Like with hands on your knees, look like you're dying, but actually it is scientifically
yeah,
more effective for
it's
breathing. So
scientifically more effective. So you could also be better than your opposition by, recovering an extra bit more than they do because you use a
mm.
scientifically superior breathing technique.
But you'll look weak, so
But yeah,
swings and
but you'll
roundabouts.
look like a bitch. So therefore, you've already lost, apparently. Gudgeon. The
uh,
so that is it. What else? Fucking people love nasal strips. If you've got a fucked up nose, I guess that's kind of cool.
maybe
Uh,
on the half topic,
uh
take your inhalers if you're asthmatic.
Yeah, take your inhalers. That's peak breathing
That is
performance.
probably the biggest one
Yeah,
for athletic performance.
yeah. Take your inhalers if you're in a team asthma, especially in the winter. That first hit of cold air right in the bottom of your lungs is
Yeah,
gross. Um, yeah, nose strips, fine. Like they might open again. It might just be a thing of like assisting, like by minimizing intake resistance or something. Like
yeah.
you're probably not even talking a percentage point, so cool. Um, I think. Oh, I think the biggest breathing associated thing for peak athletic performance will be if you are a heavier individual, not even just with adipose tissue, but also with muscle. Like regardless of how you
Yep.
are, if you are someone with a potentially thicker than average neck, you might suffer from sleep apnea, which will affect your sleep, and that will decrease your athletic performance
I, I've
significantly.
yeah, I've probably got another one that is probably the most influential on athletic performance
Oh yeah.
to do with breath work. And it was a tip from Zoe, I believe.
Mhm.
But it's like just before you're about to do your insert sport, lift, do your first squat, run your 100 meters, whatever it is, big breath in, and then a big breath out.
Yeah.
And it like
The exhale.
settles you down. Yeah. The big exhale, and that will like kind of settle you down, get you ready to go.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the actual oxygen intake and all to do with sports psychology.
Very much a
But
parasympathetic nervous system engagement
yeah,
technique of exhaling.
but ironically, in this topic, it's probably the biggest thing breathing wise you can do for your athletic performance.
Yeah. I've been talking to a few powerlifters about this because we've got some comps coming up,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, everyone gets like hype as fuck. I'm like,
Ice
unless
cold.
your technique is so dialed in that you can get hype and maintain technique, please stop.
Yeah.
Cause like you never see anyone place kicking in the Rugby World Cup and going absolutely berserk and then just hoofing it
No.
through the gap. Like
Or like you don't see Tiger Woods out on the tee just fucking getting himself hyped before he's about to bomb a drive.
yeah, exactly. It's calm, cool, and collected. Because
Yeah.
technique, like you can't, you need your arousal level will skew if your technique, and if you fuck up your technique, you're not performing at your utmost.
Are the key words for this podcast sucking and arousal level? Is
Oh
that?
yeah, has to be, has to be. I'll put them in the, I'll put it in the tags
Yeah.
along with
Um,
boats and logs, which goes in
yeah.
every episode.
Everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah. I've started adding that in as well for mountain biking because, funnily enough, when you're about to throw yourself down a hill, it's quite easy to get too hyped up, and then you get too amped up and you can't perform.
Yeah. You need to be pretty chilled to make sure you
Yeah.
take the corners correctly, otherwise you end up in a tree.
Yeah. Or actually, to be fair, what I did last, I just cut the corner and went fully off road, and then ended up at the bottom.
Nice.
Hmm.
Not sure that counts for the speed, but sure.
No.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. And
Yep.
we will see you guys in the next one.